Hey, what's up guys? It's Tom here. Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm actually going to be talking about some of my short-term rental properties that's been making me consistently over the past few months, $5,000 to $10,000 a month in pure profit. I'm going to talk about the numbers, how I found them, what are some of the tips, advice I can give you for someone who's interested in investing in real estate, but not just traditional version, but short-term rental. So if you're enjoying it so far, give that thumbs up. Let's see if we can get this video to like 500 likes. I know that's a little bit aggressive, but let's see if we can do it. Before we get started, I just want to give a big thank you to all those people that watched my last video about my post-concussion syndrome. And if any of you know someone who's suffering from post-concussion syndrome, let me know. I'm available to help them as well because I know how painful it was for me to go through it. I trust that life will take me to a better place based on the action I've taken today. Trust the process. The reason why I got into short-term rental is because we sold our business in December 2020, and afterwards we wanted to find ways to invest our funds. One of the ways that we wanted to invest our money efficiently was through real estate. I know that real estate is the long-term game and it's great, so we started buying some real estate properties, but we realized that the cash flow that each of these properties are producing is quite low. I'm talking about $100, $200 a month. Yes, over 10, 15, 20 years is gonna, build up equity and so on and so forth, but come on, $100, $200 a month doesn't get me excited, right? So I started looking into other ways to invest in real estate, whether that's investing in real estate, multifamily funds, or the other option is actually short-term rental. So in July, this property came up where it's zoned for short-term rental, and we decided to actually purchase it. So this is the very first short-term rental property that we bought. So let's jump in front of the computer here and I'll show you some of the numbers. So the property itself is located somewhere on Vancouver Island. I can't actually show you the property itself. I'll show you the other one that I have. I have two right now. This one, there's a funny story behind it, but I can definitely run you through the numbers themselves. So it's located on Vancouver Island. It was about $850,000. It's a little cabin. We had to put down a down payment of roughly 20%. So that's $250,000. You can see that the monthly mortgage is about $3,000. Half of that goes to interest, half of that goes to principal. Then you have strata fees, utilities, and property taxes, so on and so forth. So in July, which is the first month that we ran this, the total revenue that this property generated was $11,000, which is insane. This one property generated $11,000 in income. Now, minus interest payment, minus strata fees, minus property taxes, and property management, which we pay 15%, but it's gonna jump into 30% in the new year, you're looking at $7,527 in pure profit. Now, this number just blew me off my feet. I'm like, oh my goodness. I knew the number is going to be good, but I didn't expect that it was going to be this good. And the following month, we did even more with this $7,800 in pure profit. September, obviously now people are going back to school and work is dropped a little bit. October, it dropped a little bit as well. And November, I'm curious to know what that number is going to be. So probably I would say around 2,000, 3,000. But hey, even that, this is pure profit. This is passive income. We don't have to do anything. The property management company takes care of everything. This video is sponsored by The Simple Path to Amazon Wealth. Have you noticed everything costs more these days compared to a few years ago? Well, that's called inflation. And because of all the money printing the government is doing, the price of everything will just keep going up, up, and up. And sadly, most people will never outrun inflation. The only predictable way you can beat inflation is to start your own business. You can start any business you like, but being the Amazon guy, I have to say Amazon is one of the best businesses to run. If you want to know everything you need to build an Amazon business from scratch, then check out my new book linked below. You'll learn more in this book than most online courses and videos online. The second property, this one I can be a little bit more transparent. So this is the second property that we own. So I love this building. I love the location. I know the building well. And when this unit came up, we said, hey, why don't we buy it? So in downtown Vancouver, only I think 10 or 12 buildings in downtown Vancouver allows Airbnb in terms of the strata, and this is one of them. It's a great property, 2-bed, 2-bath, beautiful view, great kitchen, great building, great amenities, great location. Everything about it is awesome. Really liked it. It was for sale for $1.47 million. Yes, this is for people in the States. You're like, oh my God, you get a downtown apartment in Vancouver for 1.47. That's right. That's how expensive it is to live here. In the States, I think you can buy like half a town for that much. Well, not really, but you guys know what I mean. You can probably buy a massive house with pools and basketball courts. And we had tenants living in there for a little bit, but they moved out and we decided to put this on Airbnb, and we did $5,800 in December, which is about $200 a night. The monthly income after everything is $3,500. Now, we are managing this ourselves because we really don't need a property management company to do this one, and it's quite easy for me to handle. So now these are some of the properties that we have, and my goal is really to acquire more of these properties. But having said that, every single city has its own regulatory issues. So for example, the city of Vancouver, if you want to do Airbnb, it has to be your primary residence. Unfortunately, you can only have one primary residence, so you can really have one Airbnb listing. You have to get a license from the city, so on and so forth. However, in other cities, so like the one that I have in Vancouver Island, they don't care. As long as it's zoned for short-term rentals, you can basically have as many as you want. You don't have to live there. Every single city is different. So before you get started with Airbnb, you need to actually understand two things. Number one, what is the city bylaws? And number two, what is a strata bylaw? So those are the two things that you have to comply with. Now you say, wow, the numbers look great, Tom. I want to get into the Airbnb business. How do I get started? So I'm going to run over kind of a case study and kind of share with you what has worked for me and what I look for. Now, by any means, I'm not an Airbnb guru. I know there's a lot of people teach Airbnb. This is just me trying to allocate my capital efficiently and trying to get a good cash on cash return. I don't know everything about Airbnb, but this is just what I do and I'm happy with the results. So there's two ways for you to get into Airbnb. Obviously, you need to have a property. That's a must. But how you can get the property are two things, because not everybody has, like $300,000 to put down, right? What you can do is you can do something called arbitrage. So you can go to someone who has a property and you can say, hey, you're renting this property right now for $2,000 a month on Craigslist. What if I pay you $3,000 a month? And I'm going to run Airbnb with that. You get a higher rent and I'll do Airbnb. Is that cool with you? Or you can do profit sharing, whatever it might be. So that's you running Airbnb without actually having to put that down payment for a property. The second method is actually by owning. So basically what we done, right? So now, having said that, I want to run through a case study. So what's really cool, is for those that are in Canada, US as well, there's a place called Whistler, and Whistler is, world-renowned ski town. I love Whistler. I go there snowboarding quite a bit. Now, there's a tool called AirDNA. AirDNA is almost like the viral launch for the Amazon sellers, right? AirDNA will pull data from Airbnb and VRBO, and they have these algorithms to see who the top performers are and so on and so forth, and nightly rates and the average revenue generated and the reviews and so on and so forth. So the thing I don't like about AirDNA is that you have to purchase per city. So Whistler was like $50. I had to buy this for the video. So if you're enjoying it so far, give that thumbs up. Let's see if we can get this video to like 500 likes. I know that's a little bit aggressive, but let's see if we can do it. So that's the only downside I'm not a big fan of. I have to pay $50 to Whistler, $50 for Vancouver, $50 for somewhere else. That can add up real quick, right? You get to see kind of these tabs. The tabs I like to start off with is actually this tab. So the top properties will actually show me in Whistler which properties are performing the best in terms of yearly revenue. Now, having said that, I know this tool is not 100% accurate because it can't be. It probably just has these algorithms to, run on the back end and try to give a really good estimate. I like to find studios to 2 bedrooms because anything with like 5 bedrooms, now you're looking at mansions, which, you get these luxury mansions that are obviously going to be pulling in a lot more revenue. So I like to find something that, that maybe I can afford, because these are like $5, $6, $10 million properties, right? So if we just go here, apply change. So you will see the number 1, number 2, number 3. And then what I like to do is I like to actually take a look at where they are on the map. Now, in terms of real estate, the number 1 thing that I think is the most important is location, location, location. You've heard about this probably a million times. The reason why I think this is so important is because I want to buy in cities that I've been to, that I have strong conviction, that I like, and cities that I really know well. Now, some cities I invested in, I don't know it inside and out, but at least that I've been there, I kind of know what the sketchy areas are, what the good areas are. In downtown Vancouver, you can buy in some places. If you don't know the city well, it could be like downtown east side. They're like, wow, this is downtown. But it's like, okay, it's actually one of the worst areas for you to invest in. And really got to know the location, right? In Whistler, I see that there's a lot of purple dots around the village. Whistler has 2 sides, called Whistler Creek side and Whistler Blackcomb side, Whistler Village side. So you can see that the top performers are all here. What does that tell you? Well, don't buy over here, right? Buy where the top performers are. And once you drill into the top performers, you will also notice that they're all really walking distance to the center of the village, but more so they're actually on the runs of these ski hills, right? Ski runs. So this is the bottom of the gondola. This is where you take the gondola up. And these are actually all ski in, ski out. And you can see by their title, it says ski in, ski out, ski in, ski out, ski in, ski out, so on and so forth. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that people really want to stay at a place in Whistler that has ski in and ski out features. So if you don't do research like this, you're like, oh, I found a property over here. It's super nice. Well, it could be super nice, but that's not what people want. People want stuff like this. And for me, you know, it doesn't matter if it's e-commerce or Amazon or Airbnb. I always like to see who the top competitors are and what they're doing because success leaves clues. So you can see that ski in, ski out is super popular. I like to click on all their listings and I like to read the reviews as well. So why are people liking the property? So I just take a look at the reviews, convenient location, you know, beautiful, stunning, amazing location, only steps away, bike, so on and so forth, very comfortable bed. So I like to read the reviews to get some customer insights to this property as well. Another thing I know about Whistler is that people love to have a hot tub. So imagine that you can stay at this place, maybe that doesn't have a hot tub, or you can stay at the exact place. Let's say that they're literally neighbors, but this place doesn't have a hot tub. The other person has a hot tub. Which one are you gonna most likely stay at? Probably the one with the hot tub. So that's why it's so important to add these amenities and features and so on and so forth to a property. Now, this is basically Whistler, and you can see that their availability is pretty much fully booked during the winter season. And then once April is a little bit less booked, but that's pretty far away. So that's really, really cool to see, right? So if I'm going to be buying Whistler, like you bet that I'm going to be buying something in this area that's ski in, ski out. Now, the second thing that I like to look at is, does this make sense for me to buy? So for example, the property that we have on Vancouver Island is actually $885,000. That's the purchase price. We'll put 25% down. And on an annual basis, this property can bring probably about $100,000 in revenue. And you also want to add all your monthly expenses here as well. So your management fees, your insurance, so on and so forth. So these are all just some of the inputs for this property, right? And then over here, actually, there's a tab that we created called the short-term rental returns. So every year, after all expenses, we can make about $34,000 in net profit. And that will give us actually a return of 14.31%. If we include the principal pay down, that's 22.15%. And that actually doesn't even take into account of appreciation because real estate can appreciate as well, right? I like this, obviously, these two numbers to be as high as possible. So next year, that's going to be 30%. Unfortunately, that's kind of sucks. I want this number to be at least 15%. Turn on Airbnb to be at least 15%. I think that's a pretty good number to aim for. That's just like 15% ROI. And that doesn't even include cash flow. So this is kind of my spiel on Airbnb. Again, just to summarize, I like to find properties that I've been to. I like to do a little bit of research on AirDNA. The property that you're going to be purchasing, if they were doing Airbnb before, you can totally ask for like a P&L statement, right? Profit and loss statement to say, hey, like what was your performance like? That way you can kind of get a better sense of numbers, and ask for their Airbnb listing and so on and so forth to do a little bit of vetting, see what the customers say. I'll tell you this, guys, right now, like Airbnb performs way better than all my other real estate investments. 1 month of Airbnb, for example, like back to the Vancouver Island one, 1 month of Airbnb has generated more in profit than all my other properties combined, times like 12, times like the whole year. It's insane. I mean, what other things can you do? And this was 100% passive as well. Like I didn't have to do anything, which is like insane. And I'm super bullish on Airbnb. I'm super bullish on short-term rentals. When you buy a place, right, you really got to differentiate. It's the same thing about Amazon, the same thing about business. You can't just buy like, oh, I'm just going to buy a 1-bedroom place somewhere, because once you buy a 1-bedroom, you're kind of competing against like hotels, in my opinion. I'm sure there's a market for 1-bedrooms, but you want to kind of separate yourself from the pack as much as possible, right? How can you make this such a great offering, such a niche offering, that you're kind of the only person that really stands out? Each city attracts a different audience, and you really need to figure out why are people coming to this and how can I give them the best experience as possible. So that's the approach I like to take when it comes to Airbnb. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comments, questions, link them down below, and smash the thumbs up button. Hope you guys are doing well. Stay safe out there. And I can't believe it's already almost 2022. That's insane. But thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the very next video.